We're gonna start in a kneeling seat. You can interlace your fingers and then place the palms of your hands on your heart. Release any tension in the neck and shoulders. Take a moment to feel your heartbeat, especially if you're doing this practice after a walk or a run. The next time you breathe in, breathe from your tailbone to your heart and from your heart to your head. And then as you breathe out, extend your arms forward. So you're going to push through the palms of your hands, reaching pinky up, thumb down. And then lift your rib cage up and out as you reach your arms either up in line with your forehead or above the crown of your head. And then slowly release your hands and make a half circle around your body until your arms are in line with your shoulders. Now, you're going to reach your fingers down to the mat and then back up to the ceiling. So you want to just move the wrists, fingers up, fingers down, fingers up. And then with your fingers pointing up, make 5 circles from back to front, really moving into the shoulder joint. Keeping the breath smooth and easy, and then switch directions for 5, 4, 3, and 1. Bring your arms straight out in front of you with your fingers pointing up to the sky, and then turn your palms up to the sky. Reach your fingers down to the mat again and then onto your shoulders. And then let's make a shoulder circle. So you're moving your elbows towards each other, up, out, and down. Really feeling this movement even in your upper back and deep inside of the shoulder. I'll switch directions, circling the elbows from back to front. Okay, last one, and then you're going to come onto all fours, walking one hand at a time into a box, tabletop. You're going to come into a neutral spine and then extend your right leg back. So you want to put the ball of your foot on the mat and just push through the arms to stretch the heel to the mat. Getting into the calf muscle. And then as you push through your hands, pull your left knee to your forehead. And then step your left foot back into a plank. And from plank into downward facing dog. In your down dog, maybe move around a little bit. Pedal the feet. Sway the hips. Now grounding both feet. You're going to rise onto the balls of your feet again to come back into your tabletop. So when you're ready, we rise. Bring the weight into the arms and then drop the knees under the hips. You're going to push yourself back into the seat that you started with. And then bring the arms back out to the sides. Now making 5 circles again from back to front. Feeling the movement inside of the shoulder. And then go back from front to back. 3, 2, 1 circles. Bring the arms out in front of you, pointing your fingers up to the sky. Fingers down, fingers up, moving the wrists. And then you're going to turn your palms back up to the sky. Bring your hands onto your shoulders and continue to make these circles in your shoulder joint. And really go into a range that feels really nice and comfortable in your shoulder, keeping your hands on your shoulders. Switch directions. Going from back to front. Now placing your hands back onto the mat, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Step your left leg back now, stretching into the calf muscle, pushing the heel slightly back as you go in and out of the stretch. Now the weight goes into your hands so that the right knee can come towards your chest. And you're kind of hugging your heel towards your sit bone, pushing through the mat. And we step back from here into a plank, both feet next to each other, and into downward facing dog. Again, if you'd like to move, then move around a little bit. releasing any tension in the neck and the shoulders. And then it starts to roll forward all the way towards a high plank, bringing shoulders over wrists. Good. And we'll go back into downward facing dog, hips high, heels low. And from the down dog back into a tabletop. Good. From your tabletop, come to sit back onto your shins again with your knees as wide as your hips. You're going to support your body with your left hand now especially, and bring the right hand onto the back of your head. Keeping the ribs contained or hugging in and the spine strong. Revolve the upper back by opening the right side of your chest to the side. And then bring the elbow across the body to the left arm. And then open back the chest up to the right and bring the elbow across the body to the left arm. So just to do a few more of these, keeping the hips quite steady and rotating the upper body. Now, the last time that you open into the right side, so do one more. And then you're going to stretch your right arm underneath your left, coming into thread the needle. So you're in a child's pose and stretching the right outside of the right shoulder. Just allow a moment to rest before you go into the other side. Let's take one more breath on the exhale. And then bring yourself back up to starting points with your right hand on the mat and the left hand onto the back of your head. You're going to open out to the left and then bring the elbow across to the right. Open to left, across to the right. And do a few more, finding rotation in the upper body. Good. The next time that you open, you're going to extend your left arm and reach it underneath the right. Thread the needle. Make some space. And then completely relax and soften into the whole left arm and left shoulder. And enjoy this moment, taking your last breath out in this shape, and then come back onto your hands and knees. So slowly rolling through a cat stretch. Now coming into cat and cow, lifting the tailbone, lifting the chin, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin. Lifting tailbone, rippling through the spine, and then tuck your toes. Push your hips back in your cow stretch and push your hips forward in your cat stretch. So you're shifting the weight from your toes and your hips forward into your hands and fingers. Good. Making a wave with your body from the back of the mat to the front of the mat. Eventually coming into a plank on your knees so that you can lower the body onto your belly. And coming into a pulling cobra, walk your elbows forward and then stretch your wrists while pulling the elbows to the back of the mat. You want to feel a long stretch along your belly. And bring your hands under your shoulders, tuck your toes, and push yourself back through a plank into downward facing dog. Now in this down dog, bring your feet close together to touch. And then you're going to bend your knees and spin your knees to the right side of the mat. Your right hand comes from the mat towards your right hip, and the bottom leg extends forward. So the left leg extends, and then place the feet right next to each other again. Your shoulder is at an angle towards your wrist, and you're just pushing your hips towards your feet. And then come back into your down dog, again with your feet touching. You're going to do the same on the other side. So knees are bending and then spinning knees and toes to the left. Now lift your left hand onto your left hip and extend your right leg forward for one moment, and then place the foot next to the left foot again. Now you're pulsing, you're pushing through your right hand, your hips go to your feet, and back up a little again, and then bring both hands to the mat, and coming back into your downward facing dog. Good. Take an exhale, find balance, bringing the feet hip width apart, and come to this feeling of really pushing through the arms, pushing your hips all the way back, coming back to the breath, lengthening your exhale. Release any tension from the neck and the shoulders. And just feel that length in your spine. Now we're going to roll again forward into a high plank. Movement in the spine. Right. From your high plank, push through the mat, really coming back into the strength of your arms. Separate the shoulder blades on your back. Grip through the tips of your fingers. And then let's go back into downward facing dog. Hips high, heels low. Head. Side out of the mouth. And then walk your feet together to touch. And let your right leg extend straight and strong up to the sky. Bend your knee. Hug your knee towards your chest. And then roll forward all the way into a pigeon. So the knee goes to the right hand and you're landing on your left thigh. Stay on your hands for this one. You're welcome to move the hips from side to side. And let's go back from pigeon through plank into downward facing dog. Now the feet come together and it's the right leg that extends back up again. Rise on the left toes. Let's roll forward, right knee to forehead. And then the right knee just comes down to the mat so that the left foot can step forward to the top of your mat. Now come up into a short lunge with your knees under your front knee above your ankle and your back knee under your hip. Now you're welcome to interlace the fingers behind your back or hold onto your wrists or forearms. Find a neutral pelvis, hug your ribs in, and open the front of your chest. Now release your arms forward and up above your head, bringing the arms wherever you feel the least tension in the shoulders, and try to keep a neutral pelvis and rib cage. Bring the arms back around to your sides in line with your shoulders and circle the arms from back to front. Just like we did in the beginning of class, and then go from front to back. And then take an interlace behind your back again, lifting the sternum slightly up. Now you're gonna stay where you are, or if you feel good in your knee joints, then push your weight forward into the front foot. Here you wanna create the ability to find strength in that stretch, and then push the floor away from you with your front foot so that you can lift your back knee off of the mat. So now you're in that lunge, but the back knee is hovering. Keep your fingers interlaced, and then switch from the interlace to bring your hands above your head again into a crescent lunge. Make sure that the lower back feels easy, soft, and gentle. And now you're going to come into a warrior two with your left arm forward and your right arm back. So just rearrange your feet. Left toes pointing straight forward, shoulders over hips. Bring your hands to your heart and step long on facing the long side of your mat. The toes are slightly in. Now strong legs, strong core as you fold your body over the inside of your legs. Bring your hands onto your hips and then massage your legs all the way down towards your ankles. Gently pulling the body underneath the legs. Instead of letting the elbows fall to the mat, hug them towards the outside of your knees. Really push the sternum forward to feel like the spine can lengthen. Okay, you're going to bring your fingertips onto the mat and you want to find the longest variation of your spine and then bend your right knee coming into a side lunge. Be sure to keep the strength in both of your legs here, pushing through the outer edge of both of your feet. And from your side lunge, bend the left knee coming into a lunge on the other side. You're welcome to lift out of it a little bit or go a little lower. So the hips are really pulling back. Now start to walk your hands to face the front of the mat and drop your back knee so you're in a lunge facing the front of the mat again. Really pushing through the left heel and then push your hips back for a half split. Gently rubbing or massaging the back of your left leg. Now let's step back into plank. Really push through the mat with your hands. And then go from plank into downward facing dog. Walk your feet together. It's the left leg that extends up and back this time. And then you're going to bend the knee, hug the heel to the sit bone. Rise on your right toes and roll forward with your left knee hugging to your belly. And come into a pigeon stretch for a moment. Drop your left shin. You can stay on your hands, reach your chest forward. Good. Feel that gentle push with your shin into the mat. Maybe look over the shoulder to see if your leg, the back leg, is in line with your hip. You're gonna bring the weight back into the hands so that you can push yourself all the way back into plank, from plank to downward facing dog. Left leg rises again. Bend the knee, rise on the right toes and roll forward. Once your shoulders are over your wrist, find a comfortable place for the left knee to ground so that you can bring the right foot forward to the top of the mat. So you're coming into a short lunge with your hips and your knees about 90 degrees. And your shoulders are stacked over your hips so you can interlace your fingers behind your back. If this is uncomfortable for the shoulders, then bend your elbows and hold on to your forearms. Now check that the pelvis or the tailbone isn't sticking out, but it's rather pointing down. And you can breathe easy into the ribs. There's a gentle hug with your inner thighs towards each other. And then you're going to release your hands and bring your palms together, either in front of your head or up above the crown of your head. And now just check that feeling in the ribs. As the ribs expand, that's fine, but can you keep your pelvis fairly neutral? Let's take that interlace behind the back again. And then if you'd like, you can shift your weight forward to check your ankle and your knee mobility. Now, as you shift forward, you're really grounding through that heel and try to take any tension off of the lower back by slightly hugging the ribs in. When you're ready, you want to find the strength in the feet so that you can push yourself up into a lunge. And the arms can reach up to the head, back leg straight or bent. Good, holding and looking for balance. And then warrior two, as you readjust your feet, circle the arms and look over your right hand. And slowly bring your hands to your heart as you spin your right toes in to face the long side of your mat. With strong legs, extend your arms out to the side and then lengthen the spine as you slowly lower into a forward fold between the legs. And you can massage your legs on your way down, grabbing hold of the ankles. And then use your arms to gently pull the body underneath the legs. I feel that length in the spine. Maybe the crown of the head can point down towards the mat. And then you're going to come basically up into a half lift with a long spine. Push your hips back and your heart forward. Now you're going to bend your left knee, pushing the knee and the foot out into the left edge of the foot. So you want to engage the outer legs and then go into a side lunge on the right. Keep the spine long as you then start to walk your hands forward to face the front of the mat, and then drop the back knee again into a low lunge. From your low lunge into a half split, pulling the hips back, gently rub the back of your right leg. You're going to ground your hands in order to step back into your plank again. Really push through the mat, find that separation at the shoulder blades. And then let's go back into downward facing dog. From your down dog into a tabletop. In your tabletop, extend your right leg back and your left arm forward. You're turning your left palm inwards and you find balance at your pelvis. And then when you feel connected, bring your left hand to the mat and start to really find the connection from your toes to the crown of your head and start to do push-ups. So you're bending your elbow as your chest goes slightly down and forward. You're welcome to do as many as you can in this time. Only go as low as you can push yourself back up in strength. Good. Now the right knee comes back onto the mat and the left foot steps forward again. Let's come back up into a mini pyramid stretch, and then from the pyramid stretch into a lunge. Right. From your lunge back into warrior 2. Left palm to sky. Bring your hands to your heart, spin your left toes in. Come right into the side lunge that you did earlier, bending the back knee, the right knee. And then sweep your arms from the back of the mat to the front of the mat, spinning all 10 toes to face the front of the mat. Now lift your right palm forward and up to the sky. Shift your weight into your left foot and rise. Like a modified warrior 3, extending through the back leg. And then bring the leg in so you can grab your ankle with your right hand. And then just stretch the front of your thigh. Here, also important to hug the ribs in and push the front of your thigh forward. Good, now bend your left knee as well as your right knee. Can you go super low and turn your right knee slightly externally, or your hip, and then you want to place your right shin on the mat. You might want to use your hands here on your way down, but see if you can come down without the hands into a seat. And then as you lie down, keep the right leg externally rotated and hug your left knee towards your chest. So you're just basically coming to lie on your back, hugging left knee in. And if the right leg feels okay there, just keep it in that external rotation. And then hug both knees towards your chest. Grab the back of your knees and rock yourself back up through plank into downward facing dog. Okay, let's take a breath out through the mouth and then rise and land back in your tabletop. Maybe you hover for a moment. Now the left leg extends straight back, kick it up to the sky and extend your right arm forward. Really look for that support in the core as you hug your ribs to the sky. Lengthening the body from fingers to toes. Easy breath. Now bring the right hand to the mat and set your hands up for your push-ups, keeping the back leg like a rod and your chest reaching slightly down and forward. And go as low as you'd like. Make sure you can comfortably push yourself up with your arms. And let's do about one more, maybe two. And then we're going to step the left knee forward slightly, and then the right foot goes between the hands. Push the hips back to stretch the back or the front leg a little bit, and then come up into your lunge. Crescent lunge, reaching arms above the head. From lunge into warrior 2 as you circle the arms open. Good. Hands to your heart as you bring the right toes in. Then go right into a side lunge with your left knee bent, your hips pushing back, And then sweep your hands from the back of the mat to the front of the mat, spinning your toes forward until your hips point forward. Lift your left hand, palm to sky, and then start to shift your weight forward so you can fly off of the mat, grounding the right foot and strengthening through the back leg. Now, maybe you wobble, but you want to try to come up into a one-legged mountain pose, grabbing the ankle with your left hand. Both hips look for balance, and you're tucking the tailbone while pushing the left thigh forward. Now, same thing on this side. Bend your right knee a lot. Find external rotation in your left leg. And then can you place the top of the left foot and the shin down? Maybe use your hands and come into a seat behind that left foot. As you lower, bring the right leg with you, hugging the right knee towards your belly. Completely softening the hips. Now allow both knees to slowly come towards your chest. And maybe hug the forehead towards your knees. Turn yourself into a tiny little ball. And then you're going to place your head down on the mat and your hands on your kneecaps. And then make circles with your knees or your hips. You're going to move your knees forward and away from each other, towards each other in a circle. Allowing some movement right in your hip joint. And change directions a few times. And then you're going to place your right ankle on top of your left thigh and the right leg looking for external rotation. You're welcome to rest your hands on your shin, so left hand on the ankle, right hand on the knee, and then just gently push that right leg forward. And then eventually hold on to the back of the left hamstring to take this into a softer stretch. Let's take a big breath in and lengthen the exhalation. Releasing any tension in the hips. And then you're going to place the left foot down on the mat. Walk the left foot more left so that your legs can go into windscreen wipers. So you drop both knees to the right and your left arm up to the sky. So you allow the right ankle to remain on your left thigh like it was in your figure 4 stretch, or the ankle can fall down to the mat. Now just breathe into the left side of your ribs. Come into neutral. Switch sides. Bring the left ankle on the right thigh. And as you pull the right knee towards you, gently push the left shin forward. Finding some activation around the hip joints. And then you can let the hands eventually go to the back of the right hamstring to come into a soft stretch. And see if you can purposefully release any tension around the hips, especially the front of your hips and thighs. Make sure to release any tension in the shoulders. As you put your right foot down, put the right foot all the way on the right side of the mat. And then let the knees fall over to the left. Extending the right arm up, bicep next to ear. And just stretching the front of your right thigh. You might want to keep the left ankle on the thigh or let it fall towards the mat. And breathing into the right side of the ribs. And then bringing the arm down and your body back into neutral on the mat. With your feet grounded, you can extend your hips back up to the sky. Just for a moment, stretching equally through the front of your hips and softening your belly. In this moment, if there's anything else that you'd like to do before closing your practice, then you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, allow the body to come back down to the mat and extend your legs forward and come into your resting pose, Shavasana, with your palms facing up. You're welcome to stay here for as long as you need, taking in the fresh air, taking a moment of gratitude. Thank you for joining. Namaste.